Hi and welcome to Erik Penser Bank. My name is Ludwig Svensson and I'm an equity analyst here at the bank. With me today I have Ellen Donnelly, CEO of Abliva. Welcome, Ellen.
Thanks, Ludwig.
So today you reported your Q1 report, and my first question is, are you satisfied with the recruitment pace in this pivotal phase 2 trial with KL1333?
Oh, that's always an interesting question. I think any CEO would tell you no. We're never satisfied with recruitment because it can always be faster. But in this case, I think we're happy with the way the study is progressing so far. We've activated now 5 countries. So we've been working on activating the US, UK, France, Spain, and Denmark. And I think that there are always challenges with activating countries. You get different questions from the regulators and from the ethics boards. But we got through that. The countries are all active now, and we have patients and sites active in all of those countries. So really making good strides. The patients that we have in the study now are in a period of the study called screening. And so those patients are in screening for 8 to 12 weeks as we make sure that they have enough myopathy and enough fatigue to really benefit from our drug. So that's a super important part of the study. You don't get much credit for it because everyone's always focused on the first dose of KL1333, but in this case, that's a super important part to this study, and that's what we're currently enrolling into right now. And so we're still on track. We're on track to deliver the study in the middle of next year, the interim analysis, as we've mentioned, and we're on track to dose our first patient by the end of the quarter.
Perfect. Thank you for that. And also, can you please just give us a short reminder of the study design and why you believe it has a good chance of reading out in a positive way?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we think it's really based on the study design and the patients. And so in the study design, we've done a couple of things I think that will really help us increase our odds of success. The first thing is we ran that phase 1b study. You'll remember we had a patient cohort of PMD patients, and we looked at the ability of KL1333 to affect them in both fatigue and myopathy in that study. And so we saw a good difference between the patients that were given placebo and the patients that were given drug. So those are our 2 endpoints in this study. So we've seen efficacy in a shorter study already. So that really, I think, helps us along the way. One of the things we also did is we have 2 primary endpoints, and that's a bit unique in this area. It's called an alternate endpoint approach. And so what you do is you analyze them independently. And so if either is positive, you could have a positive study. So that's also a really nice point. We call it 2 shots on goal. We have 2 shots on goal. If either fatigue hits or myopathy hits, we will have a positive study as long as the other one doesn't get worse. And we also built in this screening period. As these patients come in, they have to have a moderate level of fatigue and myopathy, and that has to be consistent through that screening period of 8 to 12 weeks. So those are all design features that we've put in the study. We've also spent a good deal of time talking to the regulators about that design. And so we're hopeful when we get data at the end of the day, the regulators will approve the drug and let us go to market on this study. So design features are important, but the patients are also super important. And we had one failure. Another company had a phase 3 failure, and what they said was they thought they didn't bring the right patients into the study. So we're spending a lot of time making sure we get the right patients. And I think that time is well spent. We want them to have a genetic background that's very specific. We also want them to have a phenotypic background. So these patients must be genetically phenotyped, and then they must be have this high level of fatigue and myopathy. So we're really looking for a very specific patient. Once we get them, we do not want to lose them. And this is a 48-week study. So the odds of that are great. So what we've done in that regard is we've designed a really patient-friendly study. These patients only, over the course of the study, they only have to go into the clinic 5 times. And the rest of the time is spent at home, collecting the data at home. And when necessary, we have a home healthcare nurse that visits them to collect that data. So really trying to do everything we can to keep the patients in the study and keep those right patients in the study. So I think those are some of the things that we've done to increase the success or the likelihood of success of the study. It's all about the design, the patients, and the execution. So right now we're really, as a team, focused on executing this. Operational excellence is key in the company right now.
Perfect. Thank you for that answer. Very helpful. And are you planning to communicate on the patient enrollment in the study going forward? And are you planning to do that? Why or why not?
Right, good question. No, we're not planning on communicating patient enrollment, and it's for this reason, Ludwig. What happens is you often see that it ebbs and flows, and so you might have a really good week where you get a large number of patients, and then the next 2 weeks will be quiet, and everybody gets really worried. But that's just the way things work. You know, you might have a holiday in there, you might have a summer vacation. The patient flow really just comes and goes throughout the duration, and so it does nothing but create anxiety. So we do understand the importance of communication, and we will continue to provide updates both in our quarterly reports, and we will press release the important milestones. So we won't not be communicating, but there's no reason to tell you there are 3 patients in, there are 4 patients in, there are 5 patients in. It's not helpful information for anybody.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you. And lastly, from an investor point of view, you have touched on this briefly in your previous answers, but what are the most important events that you expect over the next 6 to 12 months?
Yeah, well, with regards to the study, we're looking forward to first patient dosed, full recruitment in wave 1, and the interim analysis readout on this study. Those will all be very important milestones for the company. But we're also focused more broadly on increasing the visibility of Abliva, both to the patients, the physicians, the investor community, really trying to increase our visibility in the network. And so I think you'll see a lot of communications coming from us as we do that. So an example is we're headed to a big mitochondrial meeting in June where we'll have some posters, and we have a number of investor meetings come up. And so we'll continue to communicate what we're doing, our posters, our papers, and get everybody excited about what the company is doing at Abliva.
Okay, great. Thank you for this, Ellen.
Thank you, Ludwig. Have a great day.
You too.
Thank you.